I hope I'm audible.
Yes, yes, very clearly, sir.
Okay.
Okay. So, hello
So
everyone.
thank you for inviting me here. It's absolute pleasure to be here.
Thank you, sir. The pleasure is all ours actually for you actually coming up and helping us in this venture of ours. So, hi everyone. This is Dr. Divakar. Today we have with us. He is a oncosurgeon and he has completed his MCH from Tata Memorial Hospital and is currently practicing in Raipur. Um, So, sir, what was your motivation to actually get into the field of oncology?
So I think there's a lot of roles of your early career decisions that actually ultimately leads you to like or dislike a particular domain of medicine. I was fortunate to be exposed to care of patients with cancers in my early postgrad days in Delhi. So our unit was basically dealing with a lot of cancers of breast and gastrointestinal cancers. And in fact, that you always are operating on something which is having unusual or say distorted anatomy gives you a lot of confidence as training. I think that was the first time I actually or seriously thought about pursuing a career in surgical oncology. And from there, things moved in the same direction later. So after finishing my PG, I went to pursue a senior residency in surgical oncology in Bhopal for 1 year, and then I joined Tata Memorial Hospital. So I think it is just the early exposure in your career, and fortunately or unfortunately, it was the same thing that we started off with in our postgrad days.
Sir, what do you think about the cancer landscape that we have right now in our country? As in, how can we actually increase the um, treatment for the poor people living in the rural areas?
So cancer is actually becoming a major public health problem in our country, and probably by a decade or so, we might be leading cause that might be leading cause of death as well. As we are moving towards more urban and industrialized economy, its parts and parcels like pollution in any form, food adulteration, Western to alarming rise in lifestyle diseases, and cancer is one of them. Additionally, there's rampant use of tobacco and related products in India, and which has ultimately led to situations that we're in right now. So I think this is the grim the picture that is bad that we see in India. But the best part is if you look at the majority of cancers in India, although we are having very high number of burden low compared to West on proportional basis on incidence. And the best part is majority of the cancers in India are actually preventable ones. So if you look at common cancers in India, in cancer, you take oral cancer, for example, which is almost solely caused by use of tobacco
Yes, sir.
and related products. Similarly, cervical cancer is one which is used in the HPV virus. So
Hmm.
majority of cancer that we deal with actually are preventable, and from there we can look at the cause and the solutions to that.
Sir, as a practicing surgeon, what is it the difficulties that you face while when a patient comes to you and you have to break the news that he's suffering from a specific kind of cancer, and how the emotional and the physical barriers that you have to face while treating a patient of this sort?
So I think the biggest challenge in treating a patient with cancer is our huge population itself. So there's a scarcity of trained doctors or cancer care physicians and surgeons in majority of places, except some metro cities or major cities of India, due to which access is a major problem. Secondly, it requires a lot of interdepartmental approach to treat cancer patients. And since in India we don't have a solid referral mechanism,
Hmm.
sometimes patients do receive suboptimal treatment. But fortunately, I think landscape is changing now, and now we're probably having at least one cancer institute in each state capital, and things are changing very fast. So, what we urge to our patients is that they should seek help of their treating physicians early on the course of their disease. So cancer still is a treatable thing when they come to us in early stage, but later if they come to a later stage, unfortunately, there's a lot of we don't have a lot of options, and most likely, most of the times, patients don't get treatment with curative intent. So that is something that has to be kept in mind all the time. Other thing is it's a disease which actually lead to it doesn't happen with one person, it happens with the family. So the treatment cost is very high, and they have to get a lot of tests done. So ultimately it leads to a lot of financial burden as well as emotional burden with the patient, and also with the family. So that is one thing that we see day-to-day basis in our practice, and I personally believe that the right approach to deal with that is again similar and simple: to treat patients at early stage, and for that we need to educate our masses to seek help of physician or consulting doctors as soon they find something unusual. There are multiple alarming signs of cancer that they can look for, and seeking help early on in the disease actually is going to help them in all the ways.
Sir, for a person working in a PHC, what would you advise, like for a person who has just completed his MBBS or is practicing has an experience of a year or two? What would you suggest that the person read or learn more about to actually refer these patients earlier and have that suspicion, the clinical suspicion that it can be a cancer?
So I think a few things that can turn around our problems are basically again preventive measures. There's a lot of ongoing campaigns to discourage people from taking tobacco and tobacco related products. There is something called VIA, which is a visual inspection with acetic acid. It's a screening test basically propagated by Cancer Institute IDR. Other very exciting areas that can be used are obviously telemedicine and AI, which can also take you to a proper diagnosis for such patients located in a remote area where there is no trained oncologist. And I'm sure most of them can be used at grassroots level with proper planning and implementation. So if you look at common symptoms that you have, so something a wound which is not healing for a very long time, some suspicious change in the bowel habit, sudden loss of weight, some lump in the breast or any part of the body which is painless to begin with. These are the common things that we usually see in our day-to-day practice or clinics. So if the patient comes to you in the PHC with similar complaints, we used to treat cancer as the second or third differential diagnosis when we were doing our MBBS that time, because I think infectious diseases, they are very common that time. We used to tell that tuberculosis is one of the most common things that can happen and can present in any ways. Now that thing has to be changed. If you have any patient with all those symptoms I just mentioned, it has to be a better level of diagnosis and better level of investigation that you need to look at to, and then we can come to a proper conclusion. So I think at grassroots level only, at PHC and CHC level, going ahead with a preventive oncology setup, and also looking at options that we have at our disposal, I think we can change a lot of things.
Sir, you have worked in a metropolitan city as well as in the peripheries. So, what would you suggest is something that is common between these two places where we can bring about something that will actually reduce the cancer occurrence, or at least the treatment pattern that people go through?
Can you just repeat it once again?
Sir, you have been working in a city, you have worked in a city as well as in the peripheries. So you know the overall experience of how cancer is perceived. So what would you suggest, what would you say are the common things that occur between these two places where the patients with cancer, when they present themselves, and like how do we actually change the way people perceive cancer? Because in a city like Mumbai, for example, I have seen people, they go to the doctor at the earliest with any
Agreed.
little symptom, and then where I have done my UG, there the patients used to come only when they have all the textbook symptoms or signs present in them. So how exactly are we supposed to tackle that problem where we make sure that people present themselves at the earliest.
So, education is one thing that we can always start off with, educating them with common cancers that happens and how can it be prevented. That is one thing that we can take. Other thing is we can at grassroots level involving our ancillary healthcare services worker like Anganwadi workers or nurses or ANMs who can actually teach those people in their own language which they understand better compared to a doctor or a physician sitting there. I think that is one thing that we can do. Other thing is again doing routine camps in these areas also makes a lot of difference. So obviously we won't be able to start multiple hospitals or establish multiple centers for dedicated cancer care in all remote areas or a village area. But again, somebody from the town or from the district headquarters who can come once in a month at least to screen them and educate them is going to make a lot of difference. And I always believe that the grassroots level physician, actually the one who is sitting in the PHC and CSC, Indian healthcare system can change many folds if the major things which usually don't happen at that level can be done. So there's a lot of scarcity of staff in those areas because of multiple reasons. If we look at those areas and we try to encourage our people, our young generation people or seniors also going to those areas to serve the people better, I think that is going to make a lot of difference, not only for cancer but for other diseases as well.
Sir, sir, how do you think, like, as you know, we are trying to make an app actually, where,
Yeah.
so how do you think can we apply this concept? How will the artificial intelligence help in the cancer spectrum of the country in the coming future?
So actually, AI is coming in a big way recently. Be it teleconsultation, use of robotic surgery, or things like HoloLens to diagnose or to train our residents. So I think there's no doubt that early detection and treatment of cancer is something that is need of the hour. Be it any cancer, treating them early offer best chance of cure and as well as best chance of functional and cosmetic prevention. So recently, there's something has happened called National Cancer Grid. You might be knowing about it. I think.
Yes, sir, I've heard about it.
You have any idea about National Cancer Grid? So
No,
it's actually a network of major cancer centers, research institutes, patient groups, and charitable institutes across India with mandate to establish uniform standard of patient care for prevention, diagnosis, and treatment of cancer. They're also actively collaborating together in research activities pertaining to India, specific to Indian subcontinent. So obviously, with an app like yours or including teleconsultation in that app is going to help a lot of patients to seek treatment options or to seek a second opinion with a physician sitting somewhere in Mumbai or Delhi. That is one thing that you can look at in that way.
sir, do you think an app-like system will be accepted in the medical fraternity? Because it has been in the past, it is shown that people are very stiff with the old methods and are not very accepting of the newer techniques that might change the future. So,
So I'll just tell you a real life scenario. When I started practicing in Tata Hospital, Mumbai, it is the apex institute in country. So we used to see some patients who, or less number of patients who used to seek second opinion. So most of them used to come with a opinion already, and that Tata used to be the second or final opinion.
yes, sir.
When I moved from Mumbai to a periphery like Raipur, we see a lot of patients who come to us for consultation, then go to a other consultant for a second opinion. Most of the times in these places, you don't find any other specialist. You
Hmm.
are the only one, or only 2 3 people are there in your city or in state to cater those needs. So what they do is they do a simple Google search, and something called onco.com, oncoconnect.com is there. And we have a lot of patients in our clinic who come with a second opinion from those websites which are there. So I think websites are running. I don't think app can. So obviously, app will be. You guys are starting that app recently, I think. But if there's a proper implementation and proper space utilization, I think it's going to be great help for those patients. these kind of multiple websites are already there in the industry, and I think there's a lot of scope in that industry.
Sir, what would you suggest, like the changing lifestyle of the youth today, where the use of tobacco and alcohol has become drastic in the culture of the youth has changed towards having fun with alcohol and having fun with tobacco. Uh, what would you suggest uh, can we do to change it?
I think the change should be started from ourselves only. Unfortunately, doctors are ones who preach those things, but most of the doctors also indulge in those habits. So that is one thing that you need to change. And I think probably campaigning towards a better lifestyle habits, let them know that these products are actually recreational, but ultimately they do more harm than benefit, is going to cause a lot of things. And I think best part about it is that once you are educated, you have gained some knowledge about these products. Later on, maybe with time, youth is going to be, because going to be getting away from these products.
Sir, any message for the youth today that you would like to share?
So in what sense you wanted to
Like, in a sense where something you say might change their lifestyle even a little towards a healthier future.
so I have just one message that India, unfortunately, is ravaged by cancers which are preventable. We have oral cancers, we have cervical cancer, we have breast cancer. All these cancers actually are preventable cancers if you look at it in that way. So oral cancer is preventable if you avoid tobacco or tobacco related products, alcohol. You're kind of almost sure that you won't be getting oral cancer. Other thing is cervical cancer, which is caused by improper genital hygiene and HPV. So there's a lot of options available there. We have HPV vaccination at right age, at right time. We should get vaccinated. That ultimately prevents the major problem of cervical cancer. Breast cancer also is a very common cancer in India, and that is also preventable. We have multiple options to screen those patients, either with clinical examination or with mammography, so that they can come to us early in their stage, and then that we can offer the best treatment possible with the best chances of cure and functional outcome. So I think message to youth is that only that preventable things can be prevented. All those things that I mentioned, I think if we go towards at least 50% of those, we can, most of the cancers can be prevented. Other very important thing that I want to share is I think using healthcare facility. So healthcare facility in India actually is now slowly evolving. It has already evolved. We are seeing a lot of private ventures coming into the healthcare system, and again, government failing short of their responsibilities. I might be harsh, but that is truth. We don't, or not, we are not investing a lot of money in healthcare. Because of that, private sector has come up in a big way, and it's good also. What I personally believe is that any treatment for cancer is going to be costly. If you want the best treatment, it is going to be costly, because there's a lot of things, a lot of money invested in R&D of those drugs, a lot of research is required, a lot of manpower is required. So I think taking health insurance is one thing that we don't promote. Most of the times we look up to other direction and look for a free or a subsidized treatment. But health insurance is one thing that has come in a very big way. I think that is one thing that we need to promote also, so that if unfortunately someone happens to be having a patient happens to be having cancer in there, so at least they have some financial support with them, and then with that thing also, I think they can be offered the best chances of cure at the best possible and the best infrastructure available. That is one thing I wanted to. I always talk about health insurance in whatever forums I go, and I strongly propagate that.
Sir, what do you think about what are the clinical trials that more of the UG or PG fraternity should know about in that are actually going on in India and can be tried for the Indian people?
So unfortunately, I don't have much of knowledge about it, because most of the clinical trials are actually a medical oncology trial. So I am a surgical oncologist, so that that is not my domain. But many trials are being run right now, and most of the trials are actually for immunotherapy, which has come up in a really big ways in last 4 or 5 years. Immunotherapy is a exciting modality of cancer treatment available, where we target a receptor or something which is unique to that cancer, and that is actually has got less side effect compared to a conventional chemotherapy. So, but again, that said, they are not the first line therapy available for most of the cancers. They are going to be second or third line therapies. So there are multiple clinical trials running in India, which where patient can be enrolled for those patients for those cancers who are actually metastatic or stage 4 cancers, and they can seek help of the physicians, and then most likely with that clinical trial uh, they might offer some benefit to the patient. It's very important example is for lung cancer patients. So there's a time when stage 4 lung cancer patients were actually treated as like one with a lifespan of 2 to 3 months. Now things have changed, and recently a lot of targeted therapies have come up, and we can offer decent level of survival for even patients with stage 4 lung cancer. So that has also come up recently. So these are the major trials that are going on, and all the major centers in India, be it AIMS, be it Government Hospital, be it CMC Vellore, they are running some clinical trials. Patients can seek help of those trials if they want.
Sir, any advice for us as we are going about with this initiative of ours?
So you're doing wonderful job, because I think telemedicine is need of the hour, especially with situation like that we are going on, and because there's a lot of disparity in the care in terms of city and urban or rural areas, as well as different state. I think something like this can come up in a really big way in the next future, coming years. So I think that is one thing that you can that you have started, and that is a commendable job you guys are doing.
Thank you so much, sir. That's about it with our interview. I'll just stop the recording.